it's Johnny Blue here to regale you in some more tales of the Orient. I just got back from Vietnam, did a 2-week motorcycle trip down there, and I wanted to share with you some of my experiences on that trip and also some tips on how to travel down there, how to have fun, how to make the most of your time, and especially how to make a trip there very cost effective. Like I said, I went for 2 weeks, I bought a motorcycle, I traveled almost constantly, and I think my total budget for the 2 weeks was somewhere around 600, maybe 700 US dollars. That included buying a motorcycle, eating, drinking, hotels, tours, and all sorts of stuff. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope these tips can be helpful for you guys who want to travel down there as well. First and foremost, as a US citizen who wants to travel to Vietnam, you need to get a visa. This can be pretty easily done online. You might be able to find a link to it on your own consular website, but I would recommend doing it directly through them rather than a third-party visa provider, simply because the visa provider, the visa agencies, they'll charge a little bit more money. You can do this, you can buy it online, pay the money, they send you an email confirmation, you bring that email confirmation with you to the airport, and that allows you to board the plane. Then once you arrive in Vietnam at the airport, you bring that same piece of paper to a visa window and wait about, 10 minutes or so. They print out the visa and they paste it directly into your passport. The visa that I got was good for about 60 days, I believe, and it cost somewhere around 30, 40 bucks, I don't really remember. But this is very important that you do this beforehand. And you put in the dates when you want it to start, when you want it to end. So I had thought I had completed this process and was all set to go. Turns out I was wrong. And when I got to the airport, they wouldn't let me board the plane because I didn't have the email confirmation and whatever else. So I had to go online right there at the gate, and I had to buy a new visa, which ended up costing me $150, which was significantly more expensive than the first one. And then I had to show them the receipt, show them the proof. When I got off the plane, someone was waiting for me with my name on a little piece of paper, and they walked me to the visa office and we took care of the paperwork that way. But again, it can be done ahead of time. I highly recommend you do it so that way you can save money. When you land at the airport, there will be people there selling SIM cards for Vietnam. I want to say it was like 10 US dollars for a 30-day SIM card. So I just bought one right there at the airport just to make it easy and convenient, popped it right in my phone, turned it on, good to go. There's also a DD style app for Vietnam, which is really convenient. You can call a driver to come pick you up, put in your destination, and they charge you very fair rates. I believe it's called Grab. But you don't want to take the taxis from the airport. They'll see you as a foreigner. They're way overpriced. The price difference from a DD or Grab driver versus a taxi driver was significant. Like, I think the driver that I hired cost me like $5 from the airport to my hotel, whereas it would have been like $15 to almost $30 from a taxi from the airport. So that's a significant amount of money, especially if you're trying to travel on a budget. Prior to arriving, I had booked a hotel room through, I believe, Hostel World, and made a reservation for the first night, which is all I ever do because I figure once you're there, you can find hotels easily, but you just want to make sure that you have something when you arrive so it's easy, it's confirmed, you can go straight there and unpack and unwind and just kind of settle in and then go have fun and not have to worry about lugging around any luggage you might have or trying to find a hotel room, especially since my flight arrived at like 10:30 at night. I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. I got to my hotel room. It was what you would expect. I mean, it was nice, clean enough. It had a balcony, and it was right in this little downtown party area of Ho Chi Minh City. So I arrived in Ho Chi Minh City. I got in the Grab ride, went straight to my hotel, and it was just as you would expect. It was $10 a night, maybe, clean enough, a little run down, but what do you expect for $10, right? But the location was why I got it. It was in a perfect little location. It's kind of like a nightclub, bar, restaurant, kind of the fun touristy area of Ho Chi Minh City. And it was pretty wild, to be honest. There's just a lot going on, lots and lots of people. My initial reaction upon arriving in Ho Chi Minh City was I was just blown away by the amount of scooters and motorbikes on the road. There must be 1,000 of them that will pass by you as you stand on any given intersection in Ho Chi Minh. In 1 minute, 1,000 motorbikes, just zoom, 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 zoom. Now, it's kind of funny because it seems like there's so many that it'd be hard to cross the road, but it's actually not true. You simply just start walking. And it's almost like a sea of motorcycles. They just kind of go around you. As long as you don't hesitate, as long as you're not scared, you just keep walking. You just walk and they go around you, and it's kind of like a fluid motion. It's pretty funny. So I hung out in the bar district area that night. I was feeling a little tired. I actually had a little cold, so I didn't really do much. But I got some street food, walked around. Amazing food, cheap prices, got a couple beers. But my whole purpose of going to Ho Chi Minh City was to buy a motorcycle. So the next day I woke up and I knew that if I wanted to buy a motorcycle, I shouldn't look around in the touristy areas. That's where the prices are going to be higher. However, I had just gone around to look at some prices, shop around, made a couple phone calls, got on some websites, had done a little bit of research beforehand. So I was walking outside of the touristy area, just kind of looking for some bike shops. And a guy on a motorcycle pulled up and spoke to me in English and asked me what I was doing, blah, blah, blah. And I figured this guy was, someone kind of like a liaison, someone that wants to either take advantage of tourists or whatever. But he seemed friendly enough, and he offered to take me to a motorcycle shop that was far away from the downtown area. He said he would get me good prices. So I was like, all right, you know what? No big deal. I'll go check it out, see if it's worth it. If it's not, maybe I tip him $5 for his efforts, and that's it. He ended up taking me about a 15-minute motorcycle ride away from downtown. But he took me to more of the local side of town, to this little motorcycle and scooter shop. Went into the shop and they had about 4 or 5 Honda Wind style bikes, little 110cc motorcycles. So I said, they kept wanting me to look at the scooters. And I was like, I'm not interested in a scooter. I want an actual motorcycle. I want a 5-speed with a clutch. I want to drive a motorcycle. So I took a couple bikes for test drives. These were knockoff Honda Winds. They're probably the Chinese models. Like I said, about 110 cc's. This one said Durig or something like that. It said it was like an Indonesian model. At least the engine was an Indonesian model. I don't know. The bike was in good condition. The tires were good. The brakes were good. The lights were good. Everything seemed to work on it. It had decent compression, decent acceleration. So I wasn't, I checked it all out beforehand. So I was like, this looks like it'll be a decent bike. Now, the next part was kind of fun. They, of course, are going to try to charge me more money as a foreigner. So I told them I have $200 to spend. This is all I have. 200 USD. And they're like, oh, this bike is $300. I was like, all right, well, that's fine. I won't buy it. Have a good day. And they're like, no. Like, what, 250? And I said, look, I have $200. This is all I can spend. Do you want me to buy this motorcycle or not? After about 5 minutes of this going back and forth, I was ready to leave. And they were like, okay. So they sold me the bike for $250 or $200 US, excuse me. Now, I probably paid even then over what it was worth. I probably could have gotten it for $150 if I had really, really haggled, but whatever, I didn't care that much. $200 is $200. Again, you want to make sure everything works on the bike before you make the purchase, but something to really keep in mind is when they give you the ID card, the registration card for the vehicle or for the motorcycle, make sure that the registration card matches the bike that you actually have. So it should have the VIN number, license plate number. It'll say make and model. So once you pay them cash, they give you the registration card. It's your motorcycle. You own it. As long as you have this card, you have proof that this is your bike. Got on the motorcycle. The guy that had brought me there, we went to go get some gasoline. He drove me back to where my hotel area was. And then he was like, okay, I helped you find a bike, blah, blah. And he started asking me for money. And I anticipated this, and I was ready to give him $5 or $10. Which is a decent amount of money over there. And he was like, oh, no. You did this, I did this, I helped you with this, I helped you with this. I was like, yeah, you did. I was like, but I'm not going to give you that much money. So I was like, here's $5, basically piss off. I mean, thank you for your help, but I'm not going to pay you $20 for just, riding me around. Because I'm sure the shop also gave him some sort of a kickback for bringing me there and buying a motorcycle. I mean, there was an incentive on both ends. I decided that day I was going to take the motorcycle out, so I decided to drive to the floating markets, which are about an hour and a half, 2 hours southwest outside of Ho Chi Minh City. I will say my first reactions driving around Ho Chi Minh City, if you are an inexperienced motorcyclist, it's a bit crazy. The roads are jam-packed with cars and bikes, and they're going all different speeds, and they're passing you, and blah, blah, blah. they're packed in. So you're riding with other motorcycles like right here. But having driven motorcycles for about 15 years, I wasn't too concerned about it. I did have on, no, I think at the time I had shorts and flip-flops, but it was like 100-something degrees. But to someone who's inexperienced, I wouldn't recommend buying a motorcycle. They have automatic scooters that do change gears, but you can drive them in first, second, third, or fourth gear. It just depends on how fast you want to go and how fast you want to accelerate and what your top end speed is. So you can put these bikes in fourth gear, there's no clutch, and you just start off. And it starts off slow, but your top end speed is better. Again, for someone without a lot of experience, I would recommend this. So on the way to the floating markets, it was pretty fun driving around some country roads, kind of out back, the countryside, if you will. The roads can be a bit hazardous. It's definitely pay attention. There's a lot of potholes. There's a lot of traffic. People don't really adhere to stoplights. So you're really gonna have your head on a swivel at all times. Something I found to be really useful, Google Maps does work, but just in case you don't have a signal, there is an app called Maps.me, which you can download, and it's a GPS for your phone that's offline. So it's you download the cache files to your phone. So if you get somewhere in a rural area with no service, or you decide you don't want to buy a SIM card, you can download this prior to arriving and then have a GPS on your phone. It works really well. It'll take you down country roads and through farmers' fields. It'll take you through places that you're like, how does the map know where to go? But it does. Anyway, I didn't make it to the floating markets. I got caught in a huge torrential rainstorm. I didn't have any of my riding gear with me. I brought it, but I didn't have it with me that day. Was just being kind of irresponsible. So I ended up turning around, riding back out of the storm and going back to Ho Chi Minh City. Now I had no real plans to stay in Ho Chi Minh. The point of my whole trip was to ride a motorcycle through Vietnam. My goal on this trip was simply to ride. And I was by myself, didn't really care if I met anyone. It wasn't a big deal to me. It was just, I wanted to ride. So I spent another night in Ho Chi Minh City, left first thing in the morning, loaded up the bike, got out of town, and rode to some, what I thought was gonna be cool waterfalls. Turned out to be like kind of some little rapids in the woods. Some security came over, told me I had to leave. I'm not really quite sure why. Yeah, and then the first night, I spent the night in some little small town. As far as looking for hotels go, it was very, very easy. I simply went on Google Maps. I typed in hotels in wherever town I was gonna be, and I just looked for what was the cheapest hotel. That was it. So, $5 tonight, $7, cool. I'll just go there. If it looks shady or dirty or sketchy, I won't stay there. But I'm just going with the cheapest hotel options. And that worked out great for the entire trip. I had beachfront hotels all to myself with a balcony view, $10 a night. I had beautiful downtown hotels with balconies in like the perfect little areas, $10, $8 a night. In Da Nang and Nha Trang, I had beachfront. I mean, it couldn't have asked for anything better. So Vietnam is really cheap, and there are some good ways to save money, that being one of them. What do you need a hotel room for? I need a hotel room for 3 things. Sleep, wake up in the morning, do your duties and take a shower, and get out of there. That's it. I'm not hanging out in my hotel room. It doesn't need to have premium cable and 100 thread count linen sheets, or Egyptian cotton. I don't care. I'm simply there to rest, relax, take a shower, and leave. So I will explain more in other videos about my trip, but I will say one thing. Your motorcycle will break down on you. It's guaranteed, but have no fear. There are motorcycle shops everywhere. I think the longest I had to push my bike was maybe 10 minutes down a road, but there's a motorcycle shop about every half a kilometer. And you pull in, they can diagnose and fix your bike in 30 minutes, and it'll cost you between $3 and maybe $10. I think the most I ever spent was $10 on getting my bike repaired. So it's pretty safe, it's pretty easy. Vietnamese people are also very intuitive. They have a lot of common sense and critical thinking skills. So if you do break down, you're in the countryside, you're far away from everyone, it's not a big deal. You can simply just say point to your bike and they'll say, oh, your bike is broken, and they'll help you load the bike up into their truck and drop you off at a shop. They understand completely. I learned 2 phrases while I was there, and I didn't care to learn anything else. Hello and thank you. And unlike in other countries, especially in China, if you go to someone who's selling food in the street and you say, hi, like, I want one of those, they're like, and they make you something and they hand it to you, and you just like, you hold out your money and you're like, how much? And they're like, they give you some hand signals. If you don't understand, they're very honest. They'll just take how much it is. Or you can watch locals and see how much they pay. If you try doing that in China, good luck. They're just gonna stare at you like, what? Huh? What? You're like, I want one of those. Huh? So thank you. Hello, thank you. It was all I needed to know. The people are incredibly friendly. It was very fun. It was very easy. And again, more videos to come. I will show you more about this trip. But this is just the introduction. China or Hong Kong to Ho Chi Minh City, buying the bike and starting my journey. It was absolutely a wonderful time. And I couldn't have asked for a better trip. It was honestly a trip of a lifetime. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy the subsequent videos that I will be posting. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, give us feedback, share these videos if you can. And I look forward to you guys watching the next video. All right? Thanks a lot. Bye.